What's going on, everyone? Troy Brown Jr. and the Los Angeles Lakers. It was a very interesting duo throughout the course of the season. Now, Troy Brown Jr. had a solid year. I really do. For a guy that came in on a vet minimum deal, I think he outplayed that vet minimum deal for the most part. And he's a guy that kind of got thrusted into the fire when he wasn't supposed to be. Right? He's a guy that was looking for a spot where he could go, develop, get a little play time, get a little shine, be your seventh, eighth guy on the roster. When for a good majority of the season, he was starting. I mean, he played 76 games and started in 45 of them. Right? So, I mean, the guy didn't. I am confident that Troy Brown, when he signed with the Lakers, had no intention of starting whatsoever. I bet you he thought, I'm going to go Lakers. I'll get probably 10, 15 minutes a game and I'll just be a solid rotation guy and kind of work on my game, work on myself, have some solid games, stand out a little bit. And that's not what happened. He averaged 25 minutes per game. Again, played 76 games, which is great, right? It's only 82. So he only missed 6 games the whole year. So he's a guy that can play, stay on the court, stay healthy. That's awesome. He averaged 6 field goal attempts per game, shot 43% from the field, which is not good. But he did shoot 38% from 3, which is really good on 4 attempts per game. So that is really good. A guy, 38% three-point shooter. He shot 50% from 2-point range. He has a 54.5 EFG rating, which is good. 87.5% from the free throw line, which is really good. He gave you 4 rebounds. He was actually very solid rebounding the basketball and played some solid defense, right? And he averaged 7 points per game for the Lakers. Now, the reason I even mention this and bring this up and having this conversation is because the Lakers have a question mark for Troy Brown. What should they do with Troy Brown? Do they bring him back? Do they let him go? He's not going to be more than a vet minimum deal. I know a lot of people don't really like Troy Brown. I know a lot of people really want the Lakers not to bring Troy Brown back, which I personally don't understand. The guy, for starters, is 23 years old, 6'6", 215 pounds. He is young enough to have been drafted this last season. Like literally, there were people drafted this last draft that were Troy Brown's age. There are going to be people drafted this year's draft that are Troy Brown's age. If the Lakers drafted Troy Brown this year and he played the way that he played this year, everybody would be talking about, in Lakers Nation, would all be talking about how Troy Brown is going to be the next star for the Lakers. So again, let's say Troy Brown is a rookie. If him as a rookie shot 38% from 3, on 4 attempts per game, everyone would be talking about, oh man, Troy Brown is that guy. He's coming. He's this. Like, oh, you all sleeping on Troy Brown, this, that, and the other. But because he's a 4-year player, people want more from him. People want him to be better, right? And that's the thing. Like, you got to put things in perspective. For a vet minimum contract, he was great. He was slightly above average defensively. Not like lockdown great defensively, but he was above average defensively. He shot 38% from 3. Great free throw shooter. And has all the tools and intangibles to be a quality guy. Good size, good length, good strength, all of that. Most of the season, also, he was guarding out of position, which he was an above-average defender, having to guard bigger, stronger, faster guys. He had to guard 4s at times, literally. So to go from that to like, oh, now he's in, and he still had a good defensive rate. He still was above average defensively. So that means he is a good defender who shoots 38% from 3 and could potentially be a quality 3-and-D guy. He's 23 years old. If the Lakers can re-sign him, especially for a vet minimum deal, you do that. You're like, how many 23-year-olds are better than him at a vet minimum? I mean, he's above a vet minimum. Like, he could probably get, 5 to 8 million somewhere. Again, the way contracts are handed out, a legit 3 and D. I mean, he shot 38% from 3 and also was an above average defender. That's 3 and D. That's literally the definition of 3 and D. He had some great moments for the Lakers, like some great moments. He had some big shots. He had some big games. He showed his ability and what he could become. I think the Lakers need to stick with Troy Brown. I really do. I think you re-sign Troy Brown. This time, I would like to lock him in on a long-term deal. Now, maybe the only reason he signed a 1-year deal with the Lakers was because he wanted more money this year coming up. Like what Malik Monk did type thing, where it's like, okay, I'm going to sign with the Lakers for a year. I'm going to show I'm a baller, and then I'm going to go get paid, right? And Malik Monk was able to do that. Lonnie Walker, same thing, right? Lakers could give Lonnie Walker about just under $8 million, like $7.5 million. Does Lonnie Walker stay? We talked about that, right? Well, Troy Brown, same thing. Like, how much is Troy Brown going to cost? You could pay Troy Brown about $3 million a year. I don't see him getting more than that, much more than that right now. Because again, he's a development guy. He's a development guy. But he already has a head start compared to some people, right? Like, Austin Reeves was putting up stats like this last year. And people were talking about, now look at Austin Reeves. Austin Reeves is probably going to get $100 million. If I was the Lakers, I would sign Troy Brown. If you could sign Troy Brown to a 4-year, $12 million deal, something like that, or 4 years, $16 million deal, I would do that immediately. Again, he's 23 years old. He should, by all intents and purposes, only get better. And even if he just gets marginally better, like slightly better, say he just goes from a 7 to a 10 point per game guy, right? For $4 million a year, that's really good. You get above average defender that's giving you 10 points per game coming off the bench. Like, that's value. That is genuine, legit value. He gives you a solid body that can defend, that can hit some shots, that can get to the basket. And he's only going to get better. He's only going to get more comfortable. He's only going to build more chemistry. Like, if you can keep Troy Brown for the long haul, you keep Troy Brown for the long haul. Like, again, he's not bad for what he was supposed to be for the Lakers. He wasn't supposed to be the starting 3 or 4 this year. He was supposed to be the second or third guy off the bench. Like, that's what he was supposed to be. It was supposed to be like, oh, hey, Austin Reeves needs a break. Go fill in for Reeves. Cool. Like, oh, hey, Jared Vanderbilt needs a break. Go fill in for Vando. Okay, great. Like, that's what it was supposed to be. It wasn't supposed to be like, oh, hey, man, we're going to need you to start more than half of the games this year. And we're going to need you to play 25 minutes per game. And we need you to give us like 20 points per. Like, it wasn't realistic for him. He had never gotten that opportunity, period, since he's came into the league. And I see a lot of people that were just very critical of Troy Brown, but I just felt really never put anything in perspective. Again, if you put everything in perspective, he exceeded expectations, literally exceeded expectations for what the Lakers would have gotten him in, right? I mean, this was the second most minutes he has played his entire career. His most minutes played was in 2019-2020, in which he played 26 minutes per game. He played in 69 games, started 22 of them, and he averaged 10.4 points, right? That's what he did. Like, and that was a Wizards team that was terrible, right? Like, that's the difference. He's not supposed to be a guy that's supposed to be playing 25 to 30 minutes. He's supposed to be a guy that's supposed to be playing 13 to 18 minutes, and can he give you 7 to 8 points per game? Maybe he turns into something. What if you do? What if you keep him And he stays 40% or 38%. And now he he stays 38%, but he's taken 8 attempts per game. Well, now he's, a 12 point per game guy. And that's not counting free throws, it's not counting twos, not counting everything else, right? Like, and then he becomes a legit 3. Like, I want to see what Troy Brown can do with a real roster where he doesn't have to play out of position, right? Like, what can he do as our backup shooting guard who's having to defend proper shooting guards and only plays 10 to 15 minutes per game? What can he do then? That's what I want to see. We hadn't gotten to see that with Troy Brown. We saw some glimpses, we saw some flashes, we saw some moments that was like, oh, okay, like this guy could be a real baller, right? And that's usually a good sign. Again, I just think that the Lakers need to give this guy a real chance. I do. I think you bring him back because again, who else are you going to get for a vet minimum deal that's going to give you more production than Troy Brown? Look, you have to fill out a 15-man roster regardless, right? So, even if you bring him back and you don't ever play him, right? Like, let's say the Lakers do get 3 or 4 guys in free agency and the Lakers are 8 to 9 deep without Troy Brown. Even if he's becomes the 10th guy on the roster or the 11th guy, there are many teams that have far worse 10th and 11 guys. I mean, 10th and 11 guys that are literally unplayable that you cannot play. At least Troy Brown you can play. You can plug Troy Brown in at any point, and he's going to give you quality defense. You can plug him in, and he's going to knock down shots. He's going to make plays. He's going to share the ball. He's going to, and he's 23 years old. Again, if Troy Brown was drafted as a rookie this year at 23 years old, or 22 years old, right? Everyone in Lakers Nation would be talking about how the Lakers got the steal of the draft, right? If they drafted Troy Brown in the 2nd round, people would be like, dude, this guy, as a rookie, shot 40% or 38% from 3, averaged 7 points, played 25 minutes a game, was above league average defensively. Like, we got a real stud. Wait, give us 2-3 years, and this guy's going to be the next big thing, right? Like, that's what the conversation would be. So why isn't that the conversation now, right? I think Troy Brown has plenty of upside potential. I think he's a solid keep. I think personally he is a guy that you got to keep. But those are my thoughts and opinions, and as always, I pass a question on to you. Let me know yours down in the comments below. What do you think? Do you agree with me? Like, yeah, got to keep him. Keep him around. Sign him long term. Whatever. How do you feel? Whatever your thoughts are, love to hear it. Let me know.